Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Cassie and today we're going to be talking about ways that you can improve your sewing. So the title was a bit of a psych, I will admit, but I did want to get you here, so I'm sorry for the clickbait, but I wanted you to get here so that we could talk about how you can improve your sewing. And I think that there is no reason to really rush the process of sewing other than, if you're working in the garment industry, and even then I think that we should all slow it down a bit. But I do think that the tips and techniques that I talk about with you here will be able to be immediately applied to your next sewing project and produce results. So while it might not be like boom, boom, boom fast, I think you will see things pretty quickly. So without waiting any further, let's just get into it. My first tip is to practice challenging techniques beforehand. So if you know that your garment is going to require a stand collar, a placket, mitered corners, buttonholes, zippers, any of those things, or anything that you haven't really done much before, I would recommend trying them on some scrap fabric beforehand. I think what actually works best is to use any scrap from the garment that you're sewing and do it on that so that you can get a feel for the fabric. But when you do this, you are building up that muscle memory, and sewing is in a lot of ways about muscle memory. So practicing those techniques, getting out all of your mistakes and errors and blunders beforehand so that when you get to your good fabric, there is less seam ripping, less frustration, and more clean, beautiful finishes. Number two is to cut accurately and transfer all the markings from your pattern onto your fabric. I know this is like a pretty basic one, but honestly, speaking from experience, I never used to do this. I used to cut super haphazardly. I'm actually going to invest in a rotary cutter because I think it will help improve the accuracy of my cutting. This is really important because if you are missing some notches or if your pieces don't line up properly, it's going to change how it fits. It's going to change your sewing experience. You might make mistakes. There's a whole variety of reasons why you should cut accurately and then also transfer all your markings. It will just make the sewing experience so much more pleasant. Plus, you don't have to go back to your pattern pieces to find if you missed a notch or any of that stuff. So cut accurately. That includes, making sure that you're cutting the fabric on the grain line. That makes, also making sure that you are not cutting like the same side twice. I've done that before. So take your time. It will pay off, I promise. Number three is to press both sides of your seam. And I know you've heard this one before, but I'm gonna add the and. And make sure that when you are pressing the good side of your fabric that you're using a press cloth. So this will stop your fabric from getting damaged. So typically we will press the back of the garment, but if you also press from the front, you get that ultra clean finish, which looks so good, but you don't want to damage your fabric. So put like a light press cloth down, just like a light fabric. Often like silk works really well, like a translucent silk. You just need you don't need a very big piece of it. Use that and you will have clean finishes. Your garment won't be damaged from the heat of the iron and everything will just be beautiful and lovely. Speaking about pressing, number four is to pre-press your hems. Now, most sewists that I know hate hemming garments, including myself. So a way to make it easier is to pre-press your hems. That could be on your sleeves, on your bottom hems, honestly, anywhere that you have a hem, pre-press it. Your pattern instructions, like 90% of the time, will not tell you to do this. I think I've only had one pattern ever tell me to pre-press my seams. Shout out to Helen's Closet Patterns, you're the best. Do it. Honestly, it is such a game changer. It is so much easier to sew when you have already pre-pressed your seams so that when you get to sewing in the round, your garment is already there and it just makes it so much more of like a pleasant experience. You're not going to dread it at the end and it's going to be much more accurate. A little like added bonus onto that is to get a seam gauge. I'm ordering one literally after this video because I'm tired of guessing and having like wavy seams. Those days are gone. I'm going to get a seam. I just lost the word. I'm gonna get a gauge measure. What was it called? Jesus, it's gone. Anyways, I'm gonna order one because I'm so tired of having those wonky seams. No more of that. And then lastly, maybe similar to, the one about transferring your markings and all of that, but I think that this one is important enough to have its own space. And that is to mark your fabric wrong side or right side. I like to do it on the wrong side. And I'll just write WS, and then I'll usually write like WS left, WS right. So that goes for, your pants, your sleeves, your front bodice, back bodice, right side, left side, all of that stuff. I have so many times accidentally sewn the garment, you know, a right side to a wrong side, or sewn like something that was supposed to be on the left side, sewn it to the right side. I've also sewn like two of the same sides before. So when you have everything marked out in your erasable pen, whatever you use, then everything is nice and good to go, and you don't need to just take the guesswork out. And in my opinion, with sewing, the more that you can take the guesswork out, the better everything is going to be for you. And then lastly, this is a bonus. It's not really a bonus, but obviously practice, but more than practice, see if you can sew the same thing more than once. I know that like we don't want to have so many of the same things. Maybe you can like give them as gifts, practice with totes, bucket hats, different things like that. But just do as much as you can with anything. The more that you repeat it, the more that you build that muscle memory, the more comfy you get with it, and the better you will be. So just sew like a bunch of tote bags with zippers or with buttons or like anything like that. Give them as gifts and you will have like the best sewing skills. Your like straight line sewing will be top notch. Your zipper insertion will be perfect. Buttonholes, a breeze, all that good stuff. So that was it for this video. If you enjoyed it, maybe you want to give it a thumbs up. That really helps me out in the whole world of the algorithm. I'm also on the internet at Making Cassie on Instagram and TikTok. If you want to hang out there, that would be really cool. I'm trying to post twice a week, so I will see you sooner rather than later. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye!